She's alive. Incredible. She's really still alive.
Okay, got a speed sculpt of a model of Battle Angel Alita. Or Gunnm if you're so inclined. Don't know why you would, I like the other name better. These models take a little bit longer, but I might do a few of these in the future, perhaps. I started out with making a simple shape and then bringing it into my sculpt program, and then I slowly worked on it. I took some artistic liberties with what I did here, changing the back of the head, so on and so forth, just to make it a bit more interesting. I made sure I kept into the character design quite detailed to the lore of the universe, if you understand what I mean. Like, for one thing, in Battle Angel Alita, it's a futuristic, post-apocalyptic, cyberpunk universe, and the one kind of rule to the characters is that if you can't replace brains and spines for cyborgs. So what I've done here is I made sure that I made kind of a realistic spine and had it kind of attached to the bottom of her head in kind of a realistic way, and then had the ribs and all the attachable parts look more cybotic kind of way. But yeah, the spine kind of teeters off at the bottom. It's an amalgamation of the manga, the OVA, and a few like artistic renditions of this character. But yeah, this is me just playing around with a sculpting tool and showing people off what it's like to sculpt a detail model. If you see me flicking in and out of this animation, flicking in and out of this model sculpt, I should say, it's because I'm working on the geometry or the UVs of the model. That's so that they can function properly, because you might see some points there's like random tearing in like the model's geometry, and that's because it hasn't got enough. And you'll see it prevalent when I start to paint, because there's definitely bits of the model where when I start to paint it doesn't look as good because the UVs aren't very good, because I didn't make this model to move or anything like that. This is just purely aesthetic model. But yeah, it's made up of a few pieces, but it was mostly me just having fun, to be honest. I'm a big fan of Battle Angel Alita. It's a very cool sci-fi universe. I would always recommend the first set of novels to anybody. You can pick up the new, slightly smaller softback versions of them on Amazon and anywhere like that. But the original series is really, really good. And you kind of have to be more of a die-hard fan to continue on past that to Last Order and the new series that's out, which is like Mars Chronicles, I believe it's called. It could be a translational foible there, but yeah, it's the Last Order went on to a bit of a weird tangent and kind of went much more into sci-fi fantasy than this kind of noir cyberpunk cyborg city that was the original series. I liked the idea of the weird cyberpunk universe, and the people basically don't have doctors in the same traditional sense we have doctors now. It's all just, I'll just replace it with a robot part, you'll be fine kind of idea. And I think that's a pretty cool jest for a universe, and anyone who's a fan of that kind of stuff, I would recommend the manga to be. The OVA is really good, but it's just like the first manga more than anything else. And I think you're missing out on a lot of the really interesting parts of the lore. Sorry, taking a drink there. A lot of people have said to me that Battle Angel Alita is kind of Battle Angel Alita is kind of a sister series to Berserk, in the sense that Berserk is all about the kind of understanding of death on the battlefield, and this series is more about kind of comprehending what life is. I think Last Order actually goes into that deeper, ironically, but the first series is really this female character who's trying to understand who she is, because she's just like abandoned at the bottom of a waste ditch and then saved by a simple cyborg surgeon. I really do enjoy her character, and I think she's very, very interesting, and she still holds up today, and I think the series still perseveres to be good, but the art, having read it for the long haul here, people, I mean, 15 years the manga series has been going on for, and that's kind of ferocious when you think of it that way. But it's always just kind of been on and off. Like, he's had breaks, like long year breaks, where he didn't quite know what he was doing with the series, especially with Last Order. But like I say, I recommend the first season more than anything. It actually has a funny foible that at the end, it finishes and has an ending, but it kind of retcons it for Last Order, which is kind of interesting. Now really getting into the grittiness of this model. It's all constructed now, and I'm going to work on the paint layers now. I do more detail than a model really deserves with painting here, because I do like slight shadowing with the paint, because I know I wasn't going to be using any kind of in-depth lighting or anything like that when I actually rendered it out. So I went in ahead and just did some fun shadowing foibles. Yeah, so like any kind of extra kind of paintwork that you don't think's necessary, it's because I know I'm not going to be using lighting or anything for this, and I'm not going to be rigging or doing anything crazy like that. But yeah, I've just gone in and I've used lots of multiple layers of paint here and just kind of stacked it on top of each other. It's always what you do when you're doing skin and whatnot like that in a model. You always make sure you have like a blush layer and kind of lots of multiple layers. It's how they get around because skin is kind of many multiple layers of like colors and textures and underskin, and they didn't quite get it right in CGI for a long time until like I remember the point where it was just on the peak of that was Final Fantasy Spirits Within, where they kind of just put freckles and stuff everywhere to try and compensate for the fact that they're just using one layer, which is kind of what I'm doing here. But like I say, I'm taking some artistic liberties and just making the character look detailed. But you can kind of tell that nowadays you lose like a kind of a luminescent layer and a darkened layer on top of models and stuff. Now going in and doing detail and all the shading and whatnot here, and then I'm slowly working on the metal components afterwards, just like burning and dodging all the kind of areas to give an extra sense of lighting and dark, even though like I say, if I was making a model that I was going to move around, I wouldn't go into this kind of detail because the lighting would do a lot of this work for me. Yeah, moving on, like I say, that I've tried to have like the metal parts of this look kind of organic, which is it's a growing theme of the manga, is that a lot of the parts of the cyborgs now, they kind of have this kind of organic style to them, where they look like muscles and they look like bone structure and they look like organ and like veins and whatnot. And a lot of the time they use surgical tools to operate on like mechanical parts. Like almost like this is an evolution of man, other than being like just attaching stuff to them. Now you can see some of the bad UV work here from here with some of the painting is just really stretched out, especially on the wire, the big chunky wire to the right of the arm. Like you can see where the paint stretches out because I've done a really terrible job of the UV there. Yeah, remember, if you ever get into CG kids, just make sure that you really get those UVs good. That's where you like lay out the skin as if you're skinning an animal, and you like put it flat on a surface. So when you have like a Photoshop layer or something like that, people tend to do that. But nowadays you'll use things like this and mud box and ZBrush and whatnot. And finally for this one, I do a layer of gloss and a matching colour layer so that nothing is too unique and it's got kind of a consistency to it. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and there's the finished model.